Allow me to welcome you to our panel discussion, Redefining the Last Mile Logistic Drone, Autonomous Solution, AI, and Micro Hubs. I am Abdulla Al Shamsi, the Chief Operating Officer of Bayanat, and today we have a distinguished group of panelists who are leading the charge in transformation the way we link about logistics and delivery. We do have today His Excellency Abdulla Al Alashram, the Group CEO of 7X. We have also with us Dr. Noura, CEO of Digital Cluster at Abu Dhabi Port Group. We have Nicolas from Etihad, CEO of Etihad Rail Mobility. And finally, we have Svilen, CEO of Dronamics. In today's world, last mile and middle mile logistics represent a critical stage in the delivery process where goods are transported from centralized hub to a small distribution point or end customer. These stages are crucial for our customer satisfaction and operational efficiency. Recently, technology has evolved both last mile and middle mile logistics. Innovation like drone and autonomous vehicle, AI, and micro hubs are redefining how goods are moved and delivered. This panel seeks to dive into this technology, explore their integration into logistics, and discuss the future might look like with these advancements. I would like to kickstart the discussion with His Excellency Abdullah. First of all, thank you for joining us today. We know that logistics is a complex field with many moving parts, from supply chain management to last mile delivery. And with your experience at 7X, what do you believe is the key effectively integrating these different components, and why it's important to the logistic player to consider the full picture, and how can we be effective in last mile without connecting all of those dots?
Thank you, Abdullah. Good afternoon, everyone. I think you guys had a long day and a great day. We're expecting everybody to really enjoy these panels, and thank you for DriftX for bringing us all together here. Abdullah, today, the way we envisage the supply chain challenges and issues, and how can we see the bigger picture. As the last mile is important, the first mile of it is important. And we look at this ecosystem as in one closed loop ecosystem. As long as we have proper technology that give us the insights, real-time data for us to really make sure that our operations are in real time, I think it's very important to have a lot of these partnerships, a lot of these IT systems talking to each other to give us a full visibility. We believe as long as you have the right infrastructure in place in terms of technologies and operational requirements, you can have an efficient and resilient and reliable supply chain system.
That's great. Dr. Noura, welcome. We are an autonomous event, and we are seeing it and does have a great potential of it. But the adoption of across the global supply chain has been slower than expected. From your perspective, as a technology leader in the logistics, why that slowness in this area?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I do apologize for my voice because my vocal cords are acting autonomously since I lost my firewall. So it's a very interesting question to see and to be here in DriftX and see all of these solutions that are out there. Yet when we look to the reality, we're still ordering taxis by app and they have drivers. We still have motorcycles taking our food and supply. So why are we not adapting to those recent technologies? Well, if we notice from the first keynote speaker to this panel, we have noticed that it's not about technology, it's about many factors that comes together. First of which is the regulations. Will our laws allow us? Will the savvy likes and the DOT likes will facilitate all of these new technologies, along with the police, along with the aviation, etc. You have also the data privacy that His Excellency Al-Kuwaiti have talked about. You will be hesitated as a user to get into something that is driving you autonomously and speak or be safe. So the data privacy and the cybersecurity is a second factor. You have also on top of that the infrastructure. A lot of us have talked about the infrastructure. Alhamdulillah, in Abu Dhabi we have, and UAE we have great infrastructure as a test, but still infrastructure is a key to accommodate for these new advances. Then you have two very important factors other than the technology. First, the customers themselves. Will they adapt to the technology? Will my mother and my auntie and my uncle, who are from a different generation, be able to go and try those technologies? This is a very important factor, is to know the audience that we're targeting those technologies for and how to make them safe and confident, trusting the technology that we're bringing. And the final factor, and this is where Maqta Gateway and Abu Dhabi ports are investing a lot, is the connectivity and integration of the entire supply chain. Because you can have a very advanced drone or a very fast rail or a rocket that can deliver your stuff. But at the end of the day, if you don't have trackability, traceability, integration in every single point, then you don't have a solution. And we've seen this happening, and it is still happening over and over in the global supply chain, whether it is the pandemic or the current geopolitical situation on the Red Sea. Without the information, without the integration, our response will always be delayed.
Very interesting. Definitely, the people, they are looking for those new technology. I've seen it in Bayanat. We've seen that how people and the community themselves welcoming the new idea and welcoming to try the new technology itself. They are relying on us, on all of us, to ensure that it's safety for them. And definitely, that's a major element that we need to keep always in mind. If this is safety for them or not. My question to you, Nicolas. First of all, thank you for joining us today. Scaling a rail network is challenging, especially in a region like us, where we have a varied terrains and climate. You are managing our national rail network over here. How do you manage to grow logistic network while maintaining a competitive advantage that you should have?
Yeah, thank you. So, hello everybody. So, in a way, I know there is a lot of new technology here, but in a way, the railway is a new technology here for the past few years, and we're bringing something which is, I think, very important to turbocharge an economy. So we're bringing productivity. Our freight services have been operating for more than a year now across the UAE. One train can carry the equivalent of 300 trucks. So suddenly, in terms of carrying goods across the country and even out of the country, hopefully to Oman in a few years, there was an announcement about that yesterday. But also we've got a JV with the Saudi to ship containers there. So why do the carriers, the customer, go to us? Is because, well, we can carry more at a lower cost and in a very reliable way and with a lower footprint. So it's a bit of a win-win for everybody. And to come back to what you said earlier, the two of you, is we also able to track very well, obviously, our shipments. We've got a very good partnership with Etihad, with other customers, with other logistics companies, so that the customer doesn't really, they don't care. They care about what means of transportation is taken, but really they care about end-to-end. Is everything integrated? Do I know where it is? At what time will it arrive? And we are providing that because our railway is digital first. So that's the key element, apart from the ones I said before, where we get a competitive advantage at the moment.
Thank you, Nicholas. Excuse me if I not pronounce your name correctly. Svilen. First of all, thank you for joining us. Dronamics is focused on changing the cargo mobility, which is considered a crucial component of a global trade. From your perspective, what does the future of logistics look like when it's powered by AI and technology?
Thank you. It's great to be here. Air cargo currently carries less than 1% of global trade in terms of volume, but 37% in terms of value. And that tells us there's a huge difference between essentially points you to the fact that air cargo is often considered the mode of last resort. It is the most expensive mode of transportation, and 99 out of 100 times you do not want to use it because it's going to be too expensive. Now, a lot of that comes through the technology that is being used. We use airframes that have been designed, decades ago when a lot of that had to rely on prior work. We also have, when it comes to cargo logistics, the alleviating factor of, you're not passengers, so you have a crew on board. And 10 years ago, when my brother and I started a company, we had this thought, okay, if we've been flying as passengers largely on autopilot for decades, again, with significant oversight from experienced commercial pilots, what if we take the experienced commercial pilots from the cockpit in the sky and put that cockpit on the ground, right? So there's still human in charge, but the vehicle, then you can shrink it. Because the biggest problem is the airframes are so big, they only land at very big airports. 93% of airports around the world do not get scheduled service. So the real estate exists. All these communities can get access to air cargo if only the airplanes were small enough to actually map the flows. So we realized that autonomy and AI unlocks that ability to create a smaller pixel, smaller building blocks, so you can finally respond very agile way to the demand and send the parcels where they need to be in a much more direct way. And this way you can actually ensure that everywhere, wherever you live, you can get same-day delivery, because currently that's not the case.
That's really interesting. My question to you again. I have always looked into international company. Yesterday and today itself, His Excellency also Sharafa, and yesterday His Excellency Ahmed Jassim was emphasizing on bringing international companies into Abu Dhabi itself. They are choosing Abu Dhabi to work here with ambition and curiosity. Your company is unique in this panel. You are not native to the UAE. What attracted you to launch your logistic revolution in the UAE? Is there anything unique about UAE that make it suitable for logistic application?
Yeah, well, UAE is the best place to start because it is a world-class trading hub, and we're a company that enables trade to happen in a faster way. We received investment from one of the sovereign funds and are working on setting up a factory here that will produce Emirati-made drones for the country and for the region. So when that factory is completed, we'll have capacity to produce up to 300 aircraft per year. Of course, it will take some time, but that is the vision. And we also have the pleasure of working with, obviously, the key stakeholders, like His Excellency and his team. We have an MOU with 7X, and it is really a no-brainer when you see the geographical position, the trade flows that already exist, and the way that you can serve all of GCC within 6 hours or less with our platform. That is something that is quite transformational for us as a company. So even though we started in Europe, where already the drone regulations favor our type of solution, we received the license there, and we will launch commercial operations first there. We're actually coming here next, so we're very, very excited about that.
Your Excellency Mohammed, building on what have been said, in your role at 7X, you've witnessed firsthand how technology and AI has started to play a bigger role in logistics. Working for a global AI company, I truly understand the value of AI in driving value, but can you share with us your vision for how AI and technology will transform last mile logistics, and what is your plan for 7X?
For Abdullah, today we all see a very fast-paced change environment when it comes to the horizon of technologies and adaptation of modern technologies. Definitely AI is at the peak of it today. And we definitely, as 7X, believe in adopting cutting-edge technologies to make sure that we provide the best services to our customers and clients. Today, we are POCing a couple of AI projects. One within our operation to optimize our route optimization. We are trying to implement it within our customer interaction call centers and customer service centers. We are trying to build it within our operation, where our sorting becomes more a predictive operation rather than a proactive operation. So definitely these technologies will embark on a great future that we can pass on to our societies, to our customers. I don't think AI itself would solve everything to you. You definitely need Internet of Things. We definitely need to adopt robotics, automation, blockchains, and all of these technologies will really have a great future for logistics.
Dr. Noura, we speak about technology. We are speaking about the future. If we were to look ahead into the future logistics, what trend do you foresee to be most impactful to the industry, and how is digital cluster at Abu Dhabi Port preparing for them?
I wish all of us can know the future, but I think what we can see from the trends that there are a lot of advancement, very accelerated advancement in the technology itself, on the drones, whether it's rails, so we can see the hardware is advancing in a very rapid pace. Vessels, maybe the seaside is not catching up as much as the air side and the land side, yet I think there is a huge opportunities on the seaside because it's considered to be safer, actually, to be autonomous than the other side, which is a very interesting fact. However, due to the massive, I would say, impact financially, there is a little bit of delays that we're seeing from the seaside on the autonomous, and because it is an ancient industry, yeah. So I think the hardware can catch up, but what is really important is not the technology only, is having all of these factors together, and the digitalization. I've seen what's happened, Abdullah, in the pandemic, and in the pandemic, an entire supply chain of a trade has been disrupted because of a virus. In the past 5 years, what happens in Suez Canal, when one vessel blocked the Suez Canal, have caused a $9 billion loss in daily basis. The Baltimore Bridge incident, not last week. Others and what's happening in the Red Sea. I think one of the most important things is not just to think about the technological advancement or what a drone and what does it solve for, but to think about the holistic picture and to build an ecosystem with disruption in mind. A week ago in UAE, if we had water taxis by now, we could have pulled a lot of people to their homes, right? So it's very important to look at the changing environment, whether it is political, whether it is health-wise, weather-wise, climate change, and build an ecosystem with disruption in mind and connect the dots with the digitalization to glue everything together.
Nicolas, perhaps speaking of the trend, we can touch a bit on the concept of micro-hubs. Micro-hubs, which have been gaining traction in the logistic industry as a key nodes in the distribution network. Could you explain how micro-hubs fit into Etihad Rail mission to create more efficient and flexible transportation network? Specifically, how do micro-hubs enhance Etihad Rail's ability to streamline operation, reduce transit time, and improve connectivity across various regions?
Yeah, thank you. So, we are obviously we have a network that goes across the whole country, hopefully, and soon outside of the country. And so, we have what you call micro hubs, or dry ports, as we call them, or seaports. And our objective is to be as close as possible to our customers and to give them around those points of contact with our network, the warehouses, the facilities, so that they can even stock, and then we can send as they want on demand their goods to wherever they want to send them. So we're in the process of building that with our partners. So obviously the ports, we are talking also to the truck companies, everybody, so that really those ports which are all around the country, from Guefat at the border with Saudi to Shah in the south of the country, close to the gas fields, Etihad in Abu Dhabi, all the way up to Fujairah. We've got a great coverage of the country, and our objective is to make, it's as simple as that, life easy for the entrepreneurs, for the companies to ship their goods around. And I would say in terms of, there's the physical connection, but as I mentioned before, it's all about the digital connection as well. And making sure that people have an easy access to our services, integrated with others. And maybe it will be from the sea to the port, and to the port on the train. It can be from a quarry in the north for aggregates on our train, all the way down to a work site in Abu Dhabi. So our objective is to make it seamless. And in a way, we are all used to using apps for our personal transport. Ideally, we want to have the same for logistics.
Interesting. Nicolas, railways industry is a traditional, structured, and often slower to adapt to new technology. How are you using technology and AI to transform Etihad rail mobility? What steps are you taking to transform your operation while maintaining the reliability and safety that railway are known for?
So the railways, so it's obviously an old industry, but we've automated and made trains autonomous more than 20 years ago. So there are driverless metro all over the world. There is one in Dubai, which is one of the largest in the world. So I think in terms of automation, the industry and software application for the movement of trains, we're very advanced. There are new, and what it brings by automating is that we can run more trains on the same network. It creates a lot more capacity. We're using obviously AI tools, but I would agree with what Bit said before. It's not AI in itself. It's just, it allows one step further in terms of automation, accuracy, productivity that we couldn't get. So we're using it at the moment. We're testing it for the maintenance of the trains, for instance, because instead of maintaining the trains, on a regular basis, with the IoT, we know what's going on with all the components of the train, so we can tell, maybe this one should be replaced soon, and let's not wait. Or on the contrary, it's all fine, we don't have to intervene. So it increases productivity and lowers the cost. And for customers, obviously, customer service, selling, especially on the passenger side this time, AI will be very, very strong. It's central to our plans.
Yeah, understanding their behavior is definitely will be a game changer for you. Your Excellency Mohammed, if I was to take a step back to one of the most challenging time to the industry, the pandemic of COVID-19. After the pandemic, the global supply chain has faced unprecedented challenge. Companies are more cautious about global risk. How 7X is addressing these challenges, and what strategy are in place to make the most of the current environment and to empower 7X in its mission in light of the current global supply chain challenge?
I mean, the challenge exists today, and there's too many factors that impact it. It impacts the cost and efficiency. Definitely the geopolitics and economy impact the supply chain topic in general. And how can we really adopt to dynamic strategies. How can we be resilient? And I think we are in a country that doesn't have in its vocabulary impossibility. We've seen what happened in the pandemic, and how can we overcome the challenges. We have leaders who have a vision that this country should be at its top of its league when it comes to technologies, when it comes to logistics. The UAE have established itself. It's the hub of logistics in the Middle East. So definitely our strategies have to be resilient, adaptable for quick changes, and it won't happen without using technologies and building up on partnership. That's how we envisage to overcome some of these challenges when it comes to supply chain.
Dr. Noura, we all know on the same topic itself, the role of Abu Dhabi port that played during the pandemic. You had a unique experience during COVID, where you had navigated the logistic and the AI to supply vaccine around the world. Tell us a story, and how did digitalization act as an enabler to global logistics?
Wallahi, and I always feel honored to be part of this story, although it's a sad one, but it shows how much is the UAE ready and how we are moving with resilience to face any challenge. So the story started when His Highness Sheikh Mohammed said 2 words: "Don't worry." This is what he said. And that was everywhere, let Shalunham. And this is where ADQ, the stakeholders, everyone gathered in order to realize this through actions. And the actions will be to secure enough food, to get the logistics supply that is needed, to get the vaccine supply that is needed, and to ensure that there's no disruption. So we as Abu Dhabi Ports, we were founding member of what we call the Hub Consortium, Abu Dhabi Ports, Maqta Gateway, Etihad Airway, As-Sahha, Health Department. We had the Sky Cells. So we gathered 6 different entities and we created a consortium in order to ensure that we can not just supply the vaccine in the right temperature with the right tracking to UAE, but also to the countries in need. And to do that, we have converted huge warehouses. We had to buy, a lot of refrigerator below -80, if you recall. So it was a massive work that was missing. The missing piece was that we actually have to talk to all those suppliers and factories in different countries, in different languages. So it's not a simple button or a simple Excel sheet that you will gather and you will understand where your 200 vaccine vial exists. So Maqta Gateway role and Abu Dhabi Port's role was to connect and integrate only in 8 weeks all the supply chain together to ensure that we have like a control tower monitoring the flow of all of the vaccine coming from different countries to our warehouse. And once we had the efficiency grasped on that, we started not just distributing to Abu Dhabi hospitals and UAE hospital, but we have managed through our consortium to ship more than 200 million vials of vaccines to 63 countries in need. And this is what I am really proud of, because we managed to navigate in a very resilient way with the collaboration of all stakeholders to become the hub of the distribution.
Fascinating. Svilen, your company is changing the mode of transportation, the current today traditional mode of transportation. From your point of view, what are the limitations in the current last mile ecosystem that require innovation, and what are the biggest technological tools to do that?
Well, when we started 10 years ago with my brother, there were no regulations. In fact, it took 7 years until the regulations in Europe came along so they can enable technologies like ours. So we always started with first principles, and the steps always go like this. First is the technological. Does this comply with the laws of physics? You go, you invent, you prove it out, check. Then the second question is, does this comply with laws of humans? You go, you file, you submit, you prove, and check. That bit is not yet harmonized. We expect that it will be, because the rules that the European Union implemented are actually to almost 100% based on the product of 60 or 70 country working group since 2007, of which the UAE has been a member. So we expect the same framework to be applied, but that's not the case in the drone ecosystem, the same way that it is, one harmonized body of rules for the commercial aviation. So you are right, it is an obstacle, but we and the industry and the regulators are on the journey to solving that and harmonizing that. Now, we fly high, we are a big drone, so we fly in controlled airspace. And as a subset of that challenge, there is, as you said, the last mile. So the lower altitude economy, the small drones that carry a few kilograms, they fly a few hundred meters, and so on. And that's where also a lot of the challenges sit, because that tends to be very busy space, right? You may have tall buildings, you may have some other obstacles. And we know that there's a lot of, again, companies working on that to solve that part. But our job actually starts and ends at an airfield where already the environment is secure and integrated into the airspace. So we have, purely from our point of view, an easier time on establishing the safety case and so on. But I've been very impressed with the work of the regulators here and many countries around the world. So it's definitely something that will start all-consuming over the next few years, whether it is cargo from middle-mile large drones like ours or small drones who do the last-mile deliveries.
Thank you, Svilen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our session. I wish I would continue our discussion, as there is so much more to explore in the rapidly evolving world of logistics and technology. The insights shared today have given us a glimpse into the transport potential of AI drones, autonomous solution, and micro hubs in redefining last mile and middle mile logistics. A big thank to our esteemed panelists for their valuable contribution, and thank all of you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at future event where we can dive even deeper into these topics. Have a great day, all. Thank you.
Thank you.